What's up, everybody? Michael Anthony here, doing a live stream to encourage you tonight. I want to fire you up, give you some good takeaway content. I want to give everybody an opportunity to join me. So say hello in the comment section if you would, and let me know where you're joining me from, what part of the country, what part of the world you're joining me from. Okay, and then we'll jump in. I want to give everybody a couple of minutes to jump in, join, get yourself situated. It's such an honor to be able to get together with you. We've got some fantastic content tonight to encourage you and to help you in your life. So, where are you calling in from today? Where are you joining in from today? What part of the country? Type it into the chat area. I'm going to say hello here. Buck Fever, Greenville, South Carolina. What's going on? David Hudspeth, great to have you here. Colorado, fantastic. So exciting. Carolyn Campbell, Spring Grove, Kathy Sargent, Wisconsin. Boy, I'm so excited to be able to meet with everybody tonight. You know, there's a saying, don't despise the day of small beginnings. We've got some great things coming your way. And I can't wait to tell you about them. We're only going to be together probably for about 28 more minutes. I'm going to be true to my promise that it would be 30 minutes of our time together because you deserve honesty. Jonathan, great to see you. Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Who is Banker Britt? Must be Brittany. Must be, right? And David, yes, I know. We met through George. That's fantastic. What a privilege it is to be able to get together with everybody tonight. I want to be able to entertain comments that you might have on things that I say and give you the opportunity to leave 27 minutes from now with some real clarity on your life and some really good practical insights that you can immediately take away and put into practice, because that's really what it's about, right? I didn't want to just get together with you just for the sake of spending time together. I wanted it to be quality time. I wanted it to be really good time so that you're built up and encouraged. Who else is joining us? Let me know. Southern Wisconsin, where else you calling from? Where else you joining from? Let me know, okay? And I'll give about maybe 30 more seconds, and then we're going to jump in and get maybe something you might want to drink, to wet your whistle, maybe something to write down with. I've got a little tiny pencil here that I'm using with a little pad for ideas that might come, or comments or questions you might have. And I encourage you to do the same thing, because you might have an insight. You might get some insight tonight. I might say something that could absolutely change your life, okay? Let's test the buttons. Give me some love. Give me some heart emojis or party emojis. Let me see in the chat. Make sure that's all working well. Come on, everybody. Interact with me a little bit. Fantastic. That's what I am talking about. Yeah. Fantastic. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's jump in. I want to talk about your dream, your big dream, and your dreams in life, the things that you aspire toward, things that you're excited about. My younger son is leaving with the rest of the family tomorrow to college across the country. And we have mixed feelings about it. We all have mixed feelings about it. And I spent some time with him today, some precious time with him that was far too short. Forgive me if I get a little emotional. It's hard not to. He's our first one that's going to college at a distance, so we're not going to have the accessibility to each other that we had. So it can be pretty emotional. How many of you have had or do have somebody who, family member, son, daughter, who has gone to college, and you're not going to see them as frequently as often, right? And so we were talking today, and I said to him this, which is the same thing I say to you right now. I say this to you right now. Are you listening? Don't let anybody steal your dream, including you. Including you. And I'm going to expand on that a little bit so you know what I mean in just a second. But you have a dream, a vision, something that you want to accomplish with your life. Maybe it's been on the back burner for a while. Maybe it's something that's prominent. You have to be careful that another person or other people don't come along and belittle that dream, cause you to question or to doubt yourself. Now, I know in faith circles, I was a pastor for nearly 20 years, right? I know in faith circles, we're told that we're supposed to be humble, right? We're supposed to be humble and we're not supposed to trust in ourselves. There's a Bible verse that says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he'll make your path straighter, he'll direct your paths. And what we often do is we misunderstand that to be, well, I shouldn't have any confidence in any place, any kind of a priority in the things that are deeply seated in my heart, my mind, the things that I long for, the things that I'm hungry for, your dream. And if that's what you believe, as I believed for many years, you're going to sell yourself short. You really are going to sell yourself short, because at the end of the day, you're either living your dream or somebody else's dream. You're either living your dream or somebody else's dream. And I know in faith circles, we want people to say, well, I want to be living God's dream. I'm assuming that, okay? Because I know there are people here that are joining me who are atheists, they're agnostics, and you might be a person of deep faith. I want to try to find some common ground. And the common ground is this: if you're not living your dream, you're going to be living somebody else's dream. And that dream could actually end up being a nightmare. Could actually end up being a nightmare. And the way that happens is you compromise values that you had, you compromise the destination that you want to get to. You're trying to please somebody else. Sometimes it's a father, sometimes it's a mother, coworkers, or even your friends. Some of us are afraid of succeeding in life because of how subconsciously, at a subconscious level, we are concerned about what someone else might think of us. Have you ever struggled with that? I struggled with that. Comparison syndrome, where you're comparing yourself to other people and you want to go up to what is a reasonable amount of success, but not beyond that, because then you run the risk of causing other people to be jealous of you and to create a unintentional rivalry. And so you don't want that to happen at all. So what happens is you pull away from your dream. You need to understand that if you're not living your dream, you're going to be living somebody else's dream, and that's going to end up being a nightmare. It's going to be a life filled with regret, filled with regret. Most people are happy with you and are okay with you succeeding up to a certain point. But as soon as you start getting more success than them, as soon as you start getting a little bit beyond them, that's where the jealousy can begin to creep in. And that's when something that I experienced when I was in Australia, down under, tall poppy syndrome, this idea of a poppy field with a bunch of flowers and a bunch of poppies in it. And what happens is, as they're growing, one will outgrow the rest of them, and somebody comes and lops off that tall poppy to make it even with the rest. There's actually something culturally in Australia called tall poppy syndrome, where culturally people will let other people succeed to a certain degree, be very quiet, be very low key. It's actually a way of being passive aggressive. It's a passive aggressive approach to cutting somebody down. And when somebody starts to achieve some success, some consistency that's above and beyond what most people are experiencing, that's when the ridicule comes. That's when the mocking comes. That's when the jealousy tends to come in. Have you ever experienced that? Let me know. Give me some responses in the comment section. Have you ever experienced somebody being jealous with you, jealous over your success? They were totally fine with you going up to a certain point. But as soon as you got beyond what was considered average or normal, that's when they began to get maybe a little hostile, a little bit undermining, and you just recognize that the temperature in the room got a little bit cold. They're not as warm to you as they otherwise would be. Robert Bailey is here. It's wonderful to see you. Wonderful to see you. I want to repeat this again because it's so mission critical for you. I told you that I wanted to encourage you because you need encouragement. You need encouragement. You deserve encouragement. Don't let anybody steal your dream, including you. And here's the issue that really needs to sink down deep for you. Nobody can actually steal your dream unless you give them permission. Nobody can steal your dream unless you give them permission. Other people can plant seeds. Other people can call into question the dream that you have, the goal that you have, the desire that's deep down inside of you. Other people can call that into question. But it's only when you Embrace the doubt that they are expressing in yourself. See what I'm saying? That's when you compromise your dream and you let somebody else steal your dream. At the end of the day, it's not somebody else stealing your dream, it's you stealing your dream from yourself. So I told my son that today. I said, don't let anybody steal your dream, including you. Don't let anybody steal your dream, including you. And the primary way we do that is by acknowledging somebody else's perspective on what our dream is, what our hope is, what our longing is, and placing that above ourselves. And here's why you do that. You do that because you don't trust yourself. You have some insecurities about yourself. And when you're insecure about yourself, you're going to give somebody else the keys. You're going to hand somebody else the car keys, and you're going to let them drive. And if you allow that to happen long enough, many of us are at a point in life where we look back and we say, darn it, why did I listen to somebody else's opinion of me? Why why am I listening to somebody else's opinion of me when you could have listened to your own? It's not a spiritually mature thing to trust somebody else's vision for you, somebody else's dream for you. It's actually one of the most foolish things that you could do. I've done it, you've done it, you might be doing it right now. One of the primary ways that we steal the dream from ourselves is through our emotional state. You can have a dream, a vision, a goal firmly fixed in your mind, firmly fixed in your heart. You know what it is that you want to accomplish. You know that what it is that you're after. And you can think about life in the five areas of life, right? Any dream that you have is going to fall into one of these primary five areas of life: relationships, health and fitness, career, finances, and rest and recreation. So those are the five areas of life. Okay. Any goal that you have, any dream that you have in life is going to be centered in one of those five areas of life. Let me type those out for you so that you can see them. Okay. Because this is really important for you to understand. Relationships. Let me put this in here. Health and fitness, career, finances, and rest and recreation. Those are the five areas of life. Any dream that you have, any goal that you have is centered in, anchored in one of those areas primarily. Now, there's overlap. Maybe you want to marry somebody, maybe you want to have children, maybe you want to develop a friendship with people or expand your realm of friendships. Those friendships or that primary relationship is going to have spillover. It's going to affect your career. It's going to affect your finances sooner or later. It's going to affect your happiness, your health, and your fitness, your ability to rest and relax. Because we now know, especially since post pandemic days, that when people are alone, when they're isolated, it affects them at an emotional level. It affects their well being. Their health is deeply affected. So the only way that somebody else can steal your dream is when you actually are the person stealing your dream. And the way that that primarily happens is through emotional weakness. Emotional weakness. And here's what I mean: follow me on this. And if what I'm saying resonates or even possibly resonates, I'd like to see a heart emoji if you agree with this, or if you see that it's possibly true. If you could get your emotions on board with where you want to go in life and what you want to accomplish, you would be unstoppable. If you could get your emotions on board with where you want to go in life, your dream, and if you could enable them to be consistent, you would become absolutely unstoppable. Why do we often give up on our dream? Why do we often listen to what somebody else has to say about our lives? Why do we often listen to the opinions of other people instead of going after what we really are hungry for? Hillary, great to have you joining us from New Hampshire, by the way. If you're joining us here, pretty new, let me know where you're coming in from, right? If you could get your emotional state to be consistent, you would be unstoppable. How do we know that? Because it is your emotions when you get depressed, when you get discouraged, when you get anxious, when you get stressed, that you tend to give up. And all those doubts begin to flood in, and you begin to say, well, maybe success is for somebody else. Maybe that's for somebody else, but it's not for me. You know, um, there are people in your life who are accomplishing things, doing things, people that you've been exposed to throughout the course of your life. I'll never forget seeing a little boy who was getting on a private jet. His mother and father and his whole family were on a private jet. And this kid was probably 6 years old. The truth is that that kid being on a private jet, and his parents and family took private jets all the time, didn't know anything other than private jets. The idea of flying on economy fare, like we're doing tomorrow with our family, hey, there's nothing wrong with doing economy, right? It's all about being a wise steward of your money. But that doesn't mean also that it's a negative or a bad thing to be able to take a private jet either. But that kid, that 6-year-old boy, probably throughout his life would know nothing other than, primarily because it's baked into his experience, taking private jets. And oftentimes it's our experience that we allow to keep us where we are, and our emotional state reinforces that and keeps us where we are. And we end up sitting down on the sidelines watching other people live the kind of life and just going after it. And we wonder, boy, why do they have such confidence? Why do they have such courage? Why are they fulfilling their dream while I'm not fulfilling mine? You know, one of the reasons, it's not only discipline, it's a consistent emotional state. And I say this from being like a phoenix coming out of the ashes. I spent the past 6 years, 6 years, my friends, 6 years at the bottom of a barrel. I mean, sucking up the grime on the bottom of a barrel. And my family could tell you that. I had to come back to life, resurrect myself, because I realized that a lot of the things that I was told in a faith circle that the solutions to my life were, I realized that they didn't work the way I was promised they would work. How many of you, maybe you have been told that the solution to your problems is to surrender to God more, pray more, and read the Bible? If you pray more, read the Bible, trust God more, your problems will go away. How many of you can relate to that? And yet, for some reason, you can also relate to the truth of, if you're honest with yourself, the experience is, well, how come I don't often get the breakthrough that I wish I could get or that I see other people experiencing? I'm being very vulnerable with you as a pastor, former pastor. I'm being very vulnerable with you. The truth is that we can find atheists and agnostics, people who are uncertain about their faith, having tremendous relational success, tremendous success in their health and their fitness, tremendous success in their career, their finances, and even their ability to rest and relax, even the ability to take a private jet, for example. Now, this isn't all about money. What it is about is what is possible for you to achieve your dream. One of the things that we see consistently from a neuroscience perspective in people who achieve their dreams, who crush it, who don't let other people predict their failure. Have you ever let somebody else predict your failure? Anytime you doubt yourself, anytime you question, you are beginning to predict your own failure. We know from a neuroscience perspective that people who are consistent in fulfilling their dreams, in achieving their goals, have this emotional resilience, this ability to maintain a consistent emotional state. Your emotions determine how high and how far you will go in life. Wait a second, Mike. Wait a second. I believed all my life, don't trust my feelings, don't follow your feelings. We're told that in faith circles all the time. Yes, Kathy, thank you. Absolutely. Keep the faith. I definitely am keeping the faith. In fact, while many people are deconstructing, I like to see what I went through as a distillery process. My wife and I were talking about, both of us, going through a distillery process where we were purified and all the stuff that really doesn't matter was stripped away, taken away. And what we had left was our faith in the person, the works of Jesus Christ. And I don't know if you're a person of faith or not, if you're watching right now, but I encourage you to have faith in the true, living Jesus that is found in the Bible. Religion fails us. Organized religion, institutions fail us all over the place. I mean, look at the state of the country and what's happening right now, right? But Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And so we went through a distillery process, a purification process, where what we came out with was our not only our faith in God, but also a deeper understanding of neuroscience. And it actually led me to write the book that's coming out September 15th. Did you know I'm coming out with a book September 15th? If you didn't know I was coming out with a book, put a question mark. I'd love to see how many of you do not know that I have a book coming out September 15th. It's actually my third book. And I'm going to tell you right now how you can get chapters 1 and 2. Go to my website, michaelanthonyofficial.com, and you'll see right at the top, it's super easy. You can get chapters 1 and 2 literally right now, and you get them in ebook form, and you get them in audiobook form as read by, guess who? Yes, yours truly. I read the audiobook. The name of the book is called How to Stop Kidnapping Yourself. Imagine that. I was almost kidnapped when I was a little boy several times, and I talk about that in chapter 1. You can read about that in chapter 1. But the truth of the matter is that I actually kidnapped myself, and so have you. I am an expert at mental kidnapping, and so are you. In fact, I'm so good at it that I spent the majority of my life keeping myself imprisoned and living far beneath my created potential in God. And I suspect that you have done the exact same thing. You have stolen your own dream. Now, we could say somebody else has stolen our dream, but at the end of the day, the beginning and everything in between, the truth is that no one can steal your dream unless you give them permission, unless you embrace what they are telling you. Here's the truth. Your thoughts are tied to emotions. And I talk about this in How to Stop Kidnapping Yourself. Make sure you get chapters 1 and 2 tonight. It's right there at michaelanthonyofficial.com. That's my website. It's free, right? You got nothing to lose. Your thought processes create emotions. Your emotions that are tied to what you believe are the things that are determining your motivation in life. This is why we often lose our motivation to exercise, to eat right, to continue to work on a relationship that needs work. We lose the emotional high. When we are on an emotional high, when we feel great about ourselves, when we feel great about an area of life, it is very difficult to throw you off your game. Isn't that the truth? Can you relate to that? When you feel great about your body image, it's much easier to eat healthy and to exercise and to continue that momentum. When you feel great about your financial status, it's much easier to work, to be an entrepreneur, to put in time, and to earn money because you feel like there's tremendous worth coming from that. When you feel connected to your spouse or significant other, when you feel connected at an emotional level, isn't that the time when physical intimacy is the easiest? Can we just be honest about this? Isn't it true that if you could get, and when you get your emotions to consistently go in the direction of what your goals are, what your dreams are, everything about life, everything about that area of life is much easier. Give me some heart emojis if that's true. Kathy, I know you've shared some before as well. You faced so much uncertainty till you had to totally let go and trust. And today you're totally free of guilt, found peace, and letting go, and you trust God. That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic to hear. Your emotions are tied to your thought life. Your emotions actually reveal the truth about your focus, what you've been thinking about. And so, did you know that more than 80% of all thoughts that you have in the course of a day are of a negative nature? It's true. We know that from neuroscience studies now. And about 90% of the thoughts that we have every day are a repeat of the thoughts we had the day before. So if most of them are negative, the overwhelming majority of them are negative, and most of them are a repeat of the day before, do you see how this can have you in a downward spiral of discouragement? To have you in an emotional state that causes you to be discouraged about your life and where your life is going and why your life is not going where it should be. And do you see how easy it is when somebody comes along and questions your dream, questions what's important to you, and they doubt you? and they are practicing some tall poppy syndrome on you, trying to cut you down to size, even at a subconscious level. They're not even aware they're doing it. Do you see how that can make you susceptible to backing off from what you want to do with your life, what you want to accomplish with your life? That's how it works. The book, How to Stop Kidnapping Yourself, is about exactly what I'm talking to you about here. I developed a methodology because I was at the end of my rope. I go into great detail about that. I'm very honest. I'm very transparent about where I was in life because you deserve it. You deserve that kind of honesty and transparency, especially in today's world where there's so much phony stuff going on and people are not being honest and sincere about where they are. I share very honestly about where I was because you deserve it. And I share very honestly about the strategies that I used in discovering for the very first time, the unique way that I am made, the unique way that you're made. The great book says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. You're not junk. God didn't make junk. Jesus Christ didn't die for junk. You're very important. You're very special. But if you don't believe that, you're going to believe any Tom, Dick, or Harry that comes along and tells you something to the contrary, or pulls the rug out from under you and causes you to question your own self-confidence. Listen, please listen to me very carefully. It is not arrogant to be confident about who you are. It is not. The alternative is to believe somebody else's opinion of you. And once you believe somebody else's opinion of you that is not true, now you're going down a rabbit trail of self-sabotage. You're going down a rabbit trail of self-sabotage. If you deal with anxiety, if you deal with overthinking, if you deal with self-sabotage, if you struggle with bad habits, bad choices, all of those things are a result not only of your thought life, they're also a result of the emotions that are tied to those thoughts. The emotions that are tied to those thoughts. That's how you take your dream from yourself. That's how you undermine yourself. Does that make sense? Stardust, sunstorms. What a great, great handle. What questions do you have for me about something I said or something to put into practice? What I do in How to Stop Kidnapping Yourself is I lay out a strategy to help you become more in touch with your thought life and more in touch with your emotions. For many of us in faith circles, we have no place for our emotions because they were demonized. We wrongly have been told, and we wrongly tell each other, don't trust your feelings, don't follow your feelings. Listen to me very carefully. Your feelings, in most instances, unless you're dealing with a hormonal issue or a chemical dependency or a psychosis, a genuine psychological issue, and by the way, this is not health or psychiatric advice. You should talk to your own doctor about these types of things. I'm talking to you for educational reasons and for informational reasons based on my own experience. In most instances, your emotions are telling you the truth. They're telling you the truth. They're not deceiving you. They're not deceiving you. They're telling you the truth about your thought life. But if you're not paying attention to your emotional state, you'll never get to the root of the fruit. You'll never get to the baseline as to what is causing the emotion that is cropping up seemingly from nowhere. Remember, your emotions are largely responsible for your momentum in life, your choices in life, the decisions that you make. If you could get your emotional state to be consistent in the direction of your dreams and the direction of your goals, you, and I mean you, I'm not talking to somebody else, you would be absolutely unstoppable in any one of those 5 areas of life where you choose to be unstoppable: relationships, health and fitness, career, finances, rest and recreation. I can talk about this stuff in my sleep. I don't need notes. I'm not reading from a teleprompter or anything. Relationships, health and fitness, career, finances, and rest and recreation. This is baked into who I am. I had to learn it the hard way when I was literally at the end of my rope. And my family members, my sons, my wife can attest to this. That's why I wrote this book, How to Stop Kidnapping Yourself. So make sure you get chapters 1, chapter 2 on audio and ebook today, right now, michaelanthonyofficial.com. They're free. Go get them. Start listening, start reading. And it's really time that you break free from the self-limiting thoughts that you've had and the self-sabotaging emotions that are tied with those thoughts that are robbing you of your dream. Remember, if you don't live your dream, you will live somebody else's dream. And I can pretty much promise you that dream of another human being is going to end up causing tremendous regret in your life. It's going to be a nightmare. You will regret living somebody else's dream because it's not yours. It's not yours. Why believe somebody else? Why believe somebody else when you can believe the architect and you can believe in you? I believe in you. You've got to believe in you. I promised you that we'd be 30 minutes together. It is 8:35 on the dot. Our time is up, but your time is just beginning. I believe in you. Go get 2 chapters of How to Stop Kidnapping Yourself at michaelanthonyofficial.com. Let me type that out again for you. I wanted to get that to you because I love you, I care about you, and I wanted to give you encouragement. I guarantee if you read and you listen to those chapters, when we come back and do another live stream, you're going to be able to say, oh my gosh, this is helping me tremendously. The book comes out on September 15th. You don't have to wait to start your escape right now. Most of us need to escape the self sabotaging emotions and thought lives that have caused us to give up on our dreams. Don't do it. I believe in you. You got to believe in you. Okay. Keep looking up, moving forward. I'll see you soon. Bye bye now.